ask you about the Canada trip coming up? The president has taunted, if you will, Canada, calling the 51st state, calling Prime Minister
What he said is
Governor.
it should become the 51st state from an economic standpoint. He says if they became the 51st state, we wouldn't have to worry about the border and fentanyl coming across, because now we would be able to manage that. He's made an argument that it's their interest to do so. Obviously, the Canadians don't agree, apparently. But
do you agree with that? Should they be? Is that what we're going to discuss that, becoming the 51st?
Well, that's not what we're going to discuss at the G7, and that's not what we're going to be discussing in our trip here. So they're the host nation, and I mean, we have a lot of other things we work on together. We defend North America through NORAD and the airspace of our continent together. So not to mention the issues of Ukraine and other commonalities. So we're going to be focused in the G7 on all of those things. That's what the meeting is about. It is not a meeting about how we're going to take over Canada.
But are you concerned at all about the reception that you might be getting, particularly of the event?
I don't know. Should I be? What do you know that I don't know?
They're unhappy.
I don't know. You got tariffs the last 12 hours. You've just seen this escalating trade war. Not just with Canada, but with the exception of Japan, all the other members of the G7.
Yeah. So what's your point?
Are you worried about alienating the Canadians, that they wouldn't work with the United States?
Yeah, I mean, they've invited us to come. We intend to go. I mean, the alternative is to not go. I think that would actually make things worse, not better. So it's a G7 summit. Huh?
The alternative could be not to have tariffs or not to have the language of the president.
No, those are policy decisions. And so at the end of the day, the president's made those decisions. He's explained why. It's not just against Canada. It's not just against Mexico. It's not just against G7 countries. He's imposed steel and aluminum tariffs now on virtually the entire world. And the reason why is not to punish those countries. It's because he has outlined the need to develop a domestic capability. If you don't have steel and aluminum, you can't build warships. You can't build airplanes. You're not an industrial economy. There are things we have to be able to protect, and there's a lot of unfair trade practices. A lot of countries out there who subsidize their industries so that they can gain global market share. So they subsidize the industries. They're operating at a loss. Meanwhile, our industries are trying to compete fairly, and that's why you don't have steel plants, and that's why you can't produce the aluminum. And that really threatens our national security in the long term. So these are national security concerns when it comes to steel and aluminum and some of these other products. But ultimately, the president feels strongly, and I personally agree, that we have made some decisions when it comes to trade policies that have led to the deindustrialization of America and have left us deeply vulnerable to any sort of interruptions in global supplies and or it being used to extort us, not to mention our inability to produce things that we need for our own economy and for our own defense. So that's what those policies are about. Every country in the world, we expect, will act in their national interest. The United States forgot that. President Trump is reminding us of that and getting us back to that. And I think it is quite possible that we could do these things and at the same time deal in a constructive way with our allies and friends and partners on all the other issues that we work together on. And that's what I expect out of the G7 in Canada.
Can I just ask on